Hi, this is your Uncle Staff Man coming to you live from the underbelly. Just checking in with you all. I took a little bit of a R&R week to get caught up on some personal things. We had some life changes going on here, all for the positive. So we wanted to make sure everything gets adjusted. And yeah, it's going to be a good thing. Has my anxiety going through the roof, but it's going to be a good thing. So nonetheless, the beat marches on. So I want to talk about today rock bottom. You know, some of us, if not all of us, in some way, shape, or form, have hit rock bottom in our life. We have just hit a brick wall and there's nowhere to go but up. But you're not thinking about that at that time because you're so busy looking at the fact that you are in the lowest of the low, like lower than a snake's belly. You're just down there. Rock bottom for me sometimes can be a blowout argument, saying things that you don't really mean. And sometimes it can be prideful. It can be things that you know you shouldn't say, but you end up saying it. That's a problem with bipolar type 1 is that your bravado tends to be way higher than it should be. And you tend to think things that you shouldn't think. You know, I said one time, bipolar is like one morning you can wake up and be like, man, I just hate my life and I don't belong here. By afternoon, you're like, man, I'm the eater of worlds. That's how bipolar is. It just has you thinking all kinds of things at different times. And it can be hard. It can be definitely a rough patch for people. And in essence, you can really mess up the relationships in your life with friends, family, co-workers, etc. So what do we do about these things? I don't know what you all might want to do. I know for me, exercise is important. I haven't been exercising lately because, like I said, we've had some life changes going on here. So I haven't had the opportunity to, but I will say that exercise and controlled breathing does help. I feel that if you can take the opportunity to work your muscles and get that stress out, those endorphins will kick in and make you feel a whole lot better. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but don't turn to the bottle at all. I mean, alcohol can sometimes make things worse before it makes things better, if at all making things better. I know a glass of wine every once in a while ain't bad, but, you know, just be mindful of your alcoholic intake when you are going through your cycling. Other things you can do, excuse me, is you could turn to spirituality. Now, whatever you believe in, whatever your choice of belief, that's you. From the flying spaghetti monster to Buddhism, whatever you want to do, that's up to you. You may be somebody who just enjoys nature. You worship the goddess of nature. You know, you're somebody who, you believe in God or you believe in the pantheon of gods. I'm not the one that's going to tell you anything right now, but take time to, really just clear your mind and ask for guidance. Sometimes we think we know the best thing to do, but we need to just shut up, just be quiet, let our thoughts flow, and let's see where that takes us, because those spirits, those people who are with the force might be trying to tell you things and you're not listening because you're so busy trying to handle it yourself. I would also say that if you have kids or, pets or anything like that, go spend your energy on them. Do what you can to spend that quality time with them and let them know how much you love them. Take your kids out to the park and play with them. And, sometimes that helps to melt away all the grief and stress that you've been dealing with because you're so focused on working with someone else. Same thing with pets. Pets, dogs, cats will definitely make you feel better. Even reptiles. So I would not rule reptiles out because they definitely will make you feel good too. We have a tortoise, Herman's tortoise, and a gecko. And, just watching my tortoise, stroll around his pen and, go up and down the rocks, that's kind of peaceful for me. I really enjoy that. For me as well, I like to interact with people. I like to take my mind off of my feelings and allow myself to interact with people when I feel I'm at my lowest. I consider myself somewhat of a performer when it comes to making people laugh. They say comedians tend to have tragic lives, but for me, I don't consider myself a comedian. I just consider myself somebody who observes and finds certain things funny. But I also feel that you can just be you and somebody else can find that funny. Or, you might inspire someone else. I'll tell you something that happened to me. It happened yesterday. Sometimes I go and work at my old bookstore when they need someone to fill in for special events, or if they're understaffed, I'll go and spend some time there. I really enjoy working at an independent bookstore because you meet a whole host of characters that come in that love reading, that spend time talking to other strangers about reading, and it's really nice to hear about that. So I'm going to tell you what happened to me. So I was working down in the science fiction, manga, D&D, Dungeons and Dragons area. I love working down there because, it gives me a chance to really talk to other people and, move about the facility and just see what other people are looking for, give them some references and stuff like that. So yesterday I went to lunch. And I ate, and then I came back and there was a young man who was there who was special needs. I don't want to assume how old he was, but he was an adult, but I think his mindset was like maybe that of a 10 or 11-year-old. But he was a sweet guy, really sweet. And he was going downstairs to where I worked. And I was right behind him because I had just came back from lunch. So as we were going down the stairs, he was telling me how much he loves dragons, which is ironic because my son loves dragons. And funny enough, this young man that I'm talking about right now was actually at another event that we were at in the city that was for Wings of Fire. That's a book series that's really awesome. So the author was releasing a new book, so we were there for that. So anyway, we are going down the stairs and he finds the Dungeons and Dragons area, and there's a lot of unpainted dragons over there. And we have a life-size baby dragon down there. And I mean, you would have thought this kid went to Disneyland. He was so happy. Even his mom was like, I wish I would have caught that on camera. So I was talking to his mom and she was telling me about how they listen to the audiobooks. And I said, yeah, we do the same thing. And, I went from around the counter and I just sat and listened to him talk to me about his fascination with dragons. And it made me feel good listening to him talk about that because he was so passionate about it. And as I was listening, it just reminded me that I could probably be a children's television host if all else fails with my current job. That's for sure. But anyway, yeah, we were talking, and I told him about some books that I've read in Wings of Fire. I asked him who his favorite character was. He told me it was Glory, and I told him mine was Clay. And his mom said that Clay was her favorite too. And we just talked, and, it was nice. And, I didn't know what kind of impact he was going to have on me, but he made me feel good. Like, I've worked there a long time, and I've met a lot of customers who have been nice to me. But this guy here really made me feel like I had a purpose in life. Like, I could not focus on anything negative in my life because I was so focused on him and his exuberance for these flying reptiles. So come to find out, we both have the same name, and he was happy about that. And we, I shook his hand, and he said, "Will you be here when I come back?" And I work another job, but I said, "I will be here. If they call me, I'll be here." He said, "You'll be right down here, right?" I said, "I'll be here. I will be here." And as he was going up the stairs, I gave him a dap fist bump because they were getting ready to leave. And the mom had thanked me and said, "Oh, it was so nice you talking to him." And I gave him a sticker, and I said, "Hey, I'll see you next time, okay?" And as he was going up the stairs, he turned the corner, and he had told his mom, "I want to go back downstairs with him. I want to go back down there with him." And the mom said, "He'll be here next time. He'll be here next time." And as he was leaving the store, he was saying that, "I really like him, and I wish I can see him again." And I mean, that just made my day. So I believe that things happen for a reason. And I believe I was called to work there on that specific day to see this young man and have that interaction with him. And it really made my weekend. Aside from some other things I did with my son, I really enjoyed talking to this young man. And I consider it a blessing, an opportunity to have listened to him. And, I say this to everybody who's listening to the sound of my voice right now. You don't know who you may impact in your path of life. You may run across somebody who you don't even know, but something you do, something you say may inspire them. And that's a good thing. We should try to inspire other people, especially when we're at our lows. I tie this back to rock bottom because, I was not feeling like myself the last couple weeks. And my anxiety had really taken a toll on me, and it was coming out in very bad ways. So I felt like I was really at the bottom, but this interaction really rejuvenated me and made me feel like, you know what, I got it good. I have it good. So I'm really happy that I had that opportunity. And I'm going to tell you to try and inspire someone in your life. It doesn't have to necessarily be a family member, but try to inspire someone when you are at your lowest. Take a chance to not focus on yourself, but focus that energy on someone else. And that one person might be the person that pulls you out that pit. And that young man pulled me out that pit. I'm very thankful for that. So this is going to be a brief one. I'm getting back into the groove. I will be also teaching at my son's school on podcasting. So my recordings might be a little varied, but I will be here for you all. Like I said before, we will be the only podcast that will last past the meteor hitting the earth. I can guarantee you that. So with that being said, I hope you all have a good night. I hope you all have a good morning wherever you are. And if you're working, have a good day at work. If you're not, have a good day doing whatever you want to do. But remember that you're not in this alone. We all have somebody we can lean on. All we got to do is just make that call. So with that being said, I'll catch you on the flip or the flop, whichever you prefer.